Viking sunstone compass. It is no secret that the Scandinavians were seen as the greatest seafarers of their time, responsible for some of the most incredible navigation breakthroughs and land discoveries that many other nations refused to even attempt at the height of their power. The cause for their seafaring skills have often been a mystery, but several researchers now believe that, with the use of crystals, the ancient Viking people were capable of navigating the ocean and snow-filled overcast days even when the sun and sky were not visible to be used for navigation. Referred to as sunstones, the Vikings described using a number of small crystals to assist with navigation even when the sun was not visible in the sky. The way this was accomplished was by holding the crystal up to the sky and moving the crystal around until it would show the position of the sun. Historians had first believed that the stories explaining the use of the sunstone as navigation were merely allegorical and had no real bearing in navigation of any kind, as no surviving instances of these sunstones are around today. Interestingly enough, however, researchers have begun to realize that by using polarizing crystals, it is possible to find the location of the sun even when the sky is overcast, and even when the sun is behind the horizon. This has led researchers believing that perhaps the sunstones were these special crystalline structures, but that any evidence to how they would work is still being researched and understood in the modern day. The discovery of materials 10 million times stronger than steel. A neutron star forms after a massive star becomes so large that the gravitational forces caused by its mass cause the star to implode to form a densely compacted neutron star. If the mass is not enough to cause the entity to form into a black hole, the star will stay as an imploded neutron star. Researchers from the United States and Canada performed advanced simulations regarding the formation of these neutron stars last year, and plan on publishing their findings in the journal Physical Review letters that outline the possible formation of stringy dense materials that could be 10 million times stronger than steel. Though there are no practical applications of the materials due to even a sugar cube of the material weighing the equivalent of Mount Everest, the material being referred to as nuclear pasta led to deeper implications and understanding as to the formation of the densely compacted stars and other potential materials that can be inspired from the layering design and stringing nature of the Neutronian material. NASA visualization shows a black hole's warped world. Black holes have been a matter of speculation and research for quite some time now. Researchers have spent a huge amount of time trying to understand their chemistry and physics. However, the vast distance and lack of technological advancements have proven to be major hurdles. Still, astronomers have been able to find out a lot about these mysterious giants that seem to defy the laws of physics. Recently, NASA scientists created a new visualization showing a black hole's warped world. The visualization illustrated how the gravity of a black hole distorts our view. This stunning visualization simulates the appearance of a black hole in a state where the infalling matter collects into a thin hot structure, known as the accretion disk. The extreme gravity of the black hole skews the light emitted by various regions of the accretion disk. This, in result, produced the misshapen appearance of a black hole. Various studies conducted during recent years have given new insights into the properties of black holes. Researchers first discovered a black hole in the 1960s. However, at that time, they did not know what it was exactly. It took them over 10 years to identify it as a black hole. Since then, astronomers have come a long way, and on the 10th of April 2019, NASA released the first ever direct image of a black hole. Taken from the Event Horizon Telescope, the image showed a supermassive black hole at the core of the supergiant elliptical galaxy Messier 87. According to researchers, there is a possibility that each galaxy could have a black hole at its center. Even our Milky Way galaxy has a black hole. Luckily, our solar system is located far away from this black hole, and as a result, there is very little chance of our Earth getting swallowed by it. Height 611 UFO incident. During the reign of the Soviet Union, There was a tremendous amount of sightings and UFO incidents that were cast aside and forgotten about due to the fact that the government of the Soviet Union worked tirelessly to hide evidence of extraterrestrials from its citizens in fear of its people discovering that there were higher powers that extended beyond the power and control of the Soviet Union. Because of this, many of these incidents are not well known even amongst dedicated members and researchers of the alien community. One of these such events was the Height 611 UFO incident that occurred back in 1986 on the 29th of January in the small town of Dalnogorsk. According to the residents of the town, a strange reddish orb of a massive size was spotted at around 8 p.m. that had passed over the town. This reddish orb was described as being as half as large as the moon overhead and to have appeared to have been similar in colour and luminescence to that of a dark red flame. Eyewitnesses also noted that as the object flew parallel to the ground, it made no noise of any kind as it passed over something that seemed impossible to accomplish with even the most advanced aircraft imaginable. Using specified witness timeframes and the flight path of the object, investigators calculated that the orb flew at approximately 34 miles per hour and that it was flying roughly 700 to 800 meters above the ground. As the object continued its flight path overhead, it suddenly began descending quickly and crashed into the side of the mountains located near the town. Oddly enough, every witness reported that not only did the object crash into the side of the mountain and appear to have exploded or spread temporarily as a natural wildfire before dissipating and completely disappearing, but that as it crashed, it made no sound whatsoever, which is a feat that is impossible to accomplish regardless of any advancements made in flight capabilities, as it seems to defy the fundamental laws of physics themselves. Further investigation yielded interesting results, as some rocks at the impact site had drops of lead that had previously been molten before solidifying on the rocks in the cold. Not only this, but rare earth metals were also recovered in the vicinity that were not naturally found in any types of deposits on the mountain previously. Unfortunately, the pictures taken by the investigators at the time, when later developed, turned out to be blank, almost as if they had been swapped out entirely and replaced with fresh film in an effort to cover up the evidence gathered at the location of impact. The official explanation provided by the Soviet Union at the time was that a meteorite had recently impacted the site and was the cause of the strange findings of the rare earth metals and strange chemical composites. However, the provided explanation had failed to explain the eyewitness accounts of the event, as well as the fact that sightings of strange red orbs landing on the mountainside would continue at the site over the next few years. The Ubaid lizard men. Aliens, human-lizard hybrids, or an advanced reptilian civilization. This might sound bizarre, but all these are the possibilities associated with one of the most unique archaeological discoveries of all time. Discovered in the famous Al-Ubaid archaeological site of Iraq, the humanoid figures with lizard-like features have baffled the archaeologists for more than a century now. An English historian and Egyptologist, Henry Reginald Hall, first excavated the site in 1919. He and his team found a number of artifacts dating back 7,000 years. Among these artifacts were strange statues of creatures that seemed like humans and had heads like lizards. It's a consensus among scholars that Mesopotamia, which is the region where modern-day Iraq and Iran are located, is the birthplace of human civilization. And this is exactly the place where the Ubaid lizard men, along with hundreds of thousands of other strange artifacts, have been discovered. The inability of modern-day science to explain the lizard men and the lack of historic knowledge has given rise to many conspiracy theories about these lizard men. Some alien enthusiasts are convinced that the Ubaid lizard men actually depict a much more sophisticated race that visited the Earth from a distant star during the Ubaidian era. However, some have tried to make more sense of the artifacts and have claimed that these actually represent the common practice of skull modification during the Ubaidian era. While mainstream science of today does not support the idea of a reptilian race, the inability of science to explain these 7,000-year-old statues gives rise to many questions. Were there any creatures that resembled these statues? Was mankind in contact with some advanced alien civilization? Or were these statues actually the statues of demons made in order to please the dark spirits? Whatever these were, all we can do now is speculate, as the truth lies somewhere between science and fiction.